In the dimly lit briefing room aboard the USS Valor, Captain Elena Ramirez stood silently as the murmurs of her team faded into an uneasy silence. The walls, lined with mission plaques and faded photographs of past operations, bore witness to countless acts of valor, but none quite like the moment unfolding now. Across the long table, Captain Dawson's sharp gaze cut through the heavy air, his voice steady but laced with unmistakable doubt. "Elena, we appreciate your service, but I'm afraid your leadership on the last operation raised significant concerns. The chain of command must function without exception, and your decisions caused unnecessary risk to the team." His words landed like a calculated blow, slicing through the camaraderie that had bound the operators together. The room shifted uncomfortably, eyes darting between Ramirez and their commanding officer. Ramirez's response was measured, her posture unyielding despite the sting of public reproach. "Sir, I understand the concerns, but my decisions were made with the mission's success and the team's safety in mind." Her voice held a calm certainty, a quiet strength that unsettled the room's tension. "If I may remind the team, I operate under the code name Invisible Lynx. That name carries more than just a call sign. It's a legacy of precision, patience, and survival against all odds." A murmur rippled through the gathered operators, the weight of the code name resonating beyond its syllables. The Invisible Lynx was a whispered legend among the ranks, an elusive figure credited with missions that bent the very fabric of tactical expectations. Yet, here in this moment, that legacy was both a shield and a challenge, juxtaposed against Dawson's formal censure. Captain Dawson's eyes narrowed. "Codenames don't excuse lapses in command, Ramirez. The team needs unity, not individual heroics. This isn't about legend or legacy, it's about accountability." His tone was firm, but a flicker of uncertainty betrayed a deeper conflict within him. Elena's gaze swept over her team, each face a mix of respect, hesitation, and unspoken questions. Lieutenant Marcos, her second-in-command, shifted slightly, the weight of leadership pressing upon him as he absorbed the unfolding drama. Ramirez's voice softened almost imperceptibly. "I'm here to lead, to protect, and to succeed. The codename is not just a symbol. It represents the countless missions where lives depended on discretion and resolve. I stand ready to prove that in every operation moving forward." The tension in the room was palpable, a fragile balance between authority and the unspoken bonds forged in shared trials. Dawson exhaled sharply, signaling the end of the confrontation but not the resolution. "Very well. We will proceed with the next phase of training. But know this, your position, Ramirez, is under scrutiny. The team's trust must be earned, not assumed." As the meeting dispersed, Elena remained seated, the weight of Dawson's words settling like a stone in her chest. Outside the room, the hum of the ship's engines and the distant chatter of crew members created a stark contrast to the silent storm within her. She touched a small patch on her sleeve, an embroidered lynx, subtle yet unmistakable, a reminder of who she was beneath the uniform. In the corridor, Lieutenant Marcus approached cautiously, his expression a mixture of concern and resolve. "Captain, the team respects you. I've seen your tactics in the field. They work. We just need to bridge the gap with command." His voice held a quiet encouragement, a lifeline amid the uncertainty. Elena nodded, gratitude flickering in her eyes. "I'm not here to break the chain, Marcos. I'm here to strengthen it. But it won't be easy." Her words carried the weight of experience, of battles fought both in combat and within the confines of military hierarchy. Later that evening, in the solitude of her quarters, Elena reviewed mission reports and after-action reviews. The flickering light from the small desk lamp cast shadows that danced on the walls, mirroring the turmoil in her mind. Each report revealed tactical successes overshadowed by moments Dawson deemed insubordinate. Yet, beneath the data lay a story of resilience and calculated risk. Her thoughts drifted to the origins of Invisible Lynx, a codename earned in the shadows of covert operations, where silence and patience were weapons as potent as any rifle. It was a name that had saved lives, including those of her own team members, and yet it had become a double-edged sword in the eyes of her superiors. A soft chime interrupted her reverie, a secure message blinking on her terminal. The encrypted text read, "Trust the legacy." The mission evolves. Eyes forward. No signature, no explanation, just the cryptic assurance that her path was not solitary, that unseen allies watched and supported the principles she embodied. Elena allowed herself a faint smile, the first in hours. The invisible threads of loyalty and purpose wove through her resolve, reinforcing her commitment to the team and the mission ahead. The legacy of the invisible Lynx was more than a name. It was a promise to uphold the unyielding standards of excellence and sacrifice. As dawn approached, the ship's crew prepared for the day's operations. Elena stood on the deck, the rising sun casting a golden hue over the horizon. The sea stretched endlessly before them, a vast and unpredictable battlefield. In that moment, she embodied the quiet strength that had carried her through countless challenges, a leader ready to face skepticism and emerge stronger. The team gathered soon after, the tension from the briefing still lingering but tempered by the unspoken respect Elena had commanded. Captain Dawson addressed them with renewed formality, outlining the next phase of training exercises designed to test their cohesion and tactical prowess. Elena listened intently, her mind already strategizing for the trials ahead. The road to regaining trust was steep, but the foundation was laid. She would prove that the legacy of Invisible Lynx was not a relic of past glories, but a living testament to leadership under fire. As the team dispersed to prepare, whispers circulated, speculation about Ramirez's methods, her past, and the mysterious code name she bore. Some doubted, others admired, but all were drawn into the unfolding narrative of a leader who refused to be defined by doubt. Captain Elena Ramirez adjusted the collar of her uniform, the Lynx patch gleaming in the morning light. Her voice, steady and resolute, would soon guide the team through the crucible ahead. The mission was far from over, and the invisible Lynx was ready to stake her claim, not through words, but through action. The training grounds echoed with the sharp clang of metal and the steady thud of boots striking the earth. Captain Elena Ramirez moved deliberately through the obstacle course, her every step calculated, her gaze scanning for the slightest flaw in the terrain. Around her, the team executed drills with practiced precision, yet subtle undercurrents of resistance threaded through their movements. Whispers behind closed doors, sidelong glances, and the occasional hesitation when she issued orders. Lieutenant Marcus walked beside her, his expression serious. Some of the team still question your methods, Captain. They expect rigid adherence to protocol, not the adaptability you insist upon. Elena's eyes flicked toward a group of operators practicing close-quarters combat, their forms stiff and textbook perfect. Protocol has its place, Marcos, but rigidity can become a liability. The battlefield isn't predictable. Flexibility saves lives. A sudden cheer erupted nearby as Sergeant Daniels executed a flawless takedown during a live-fire exercise under Ramirez's watchful eye. Yet, even as the team applauded, muted whispers lingered. The unspoken question hung in the air. Was Elena's unconventional leadership truly an asset, or a risk too great? The day's training escalated into a field exercise simulating an urban hostage rescue mission. Elena's team faced the challenge head-on, navigating narrow alleyways and fractured buildings with tactical precision. Her commands were crisp yet adaptive, adjusting to the ebb and flow of simulated threats. Yet, in moments of improvisation, rerouting the squad to flank an unexpected enemy position, some operators hesitated, clinging to the rigid plans drilled into them since basic training. As the exercise concluded, Captain Dawson approached, his expression unreadable. Ramirez, your team performed well, but your disregard for standard procedure nearly compromised the objective. We cannot afford improvisation when lives are at stake. Elena met his gaze steadily. Sir, the objective was achieved with 0 casualties. Adaptation was necessary to overcome unforeseen variables. Our success proves the validity of the approach. Dawson's jaw tightened. Success is measured by adherence to command structure and protocol. Your methods sow discord and risk operational integrity. The tension was thick enough to slice, and the team watched, caught between loyalty and protocol. Lieutenant Marcos stepped forward cautiously. Captain, the balance between discipline and flexibility is delicate. Perhaps there's room to integrate both approaches in training. Elena nodded, her resolve unshaken. Exactly. I'm not here to dismantle structure, but to evolve it. Our enemies don't read manuals. We need to outthink them, not just outgun them. Behind the scenes, subtle challenges mounted. Equipment checks revealed minor sabotage. Extra weight added to Elena's gear, communications devices with altered frequencies. It was clear that resistance was more than passive. Someone was actively undermining her. Yet instead of reporting the incidents immediately, Elena quietly compensated, adjusting her load and recalibrating her devices, maintaining seamless performance in every exercise. In the briefing room, Captain Dawson convened a session to review performance metrics and discuss the upcoming joint operation exercise. The room buzzed with anticipation and skepticism. Elena's team, under her direction, had consistently ranked high in efficiency and mission success, yet whispers of dissent persisted. During the meeting, Lieutenant Harper, a seasoned operator known for his adherence to protocol, voiced his concerns. Captain Ramirez's tactics might work in controlled environments, but in the chaos of actual combat, they could lead to confusion and breakdowns in communication. Elena's retort was calm but firm. Lieutenant Harper, the controlled environment is a myth in war. My tactics have been tested in live operations with successful outcomes. Flexibility and clear communication are not mutually exclusive. The exchange sparked a quiet debate among the operators, dividing opinions but also opening a space for dialogue that had previously been stifled by rigid hierarchy. Later, during a simulated maritime extraction exercise, Elena's team was tasked with retrieving a high-value asset under hostile conditions. The exercise was designed to test endurance, coordination, and tactical execution. Elena introduced a deviation from the standard extraction route, citing intelligence on enemy patrol patterns gathered during reconnaissance. Lieutenant Marcus hesitated but followed, trusting her judgment. The team navigated treacherous waters, evading detection and overcoming obstacles that would have stalled a conventional approach. The operation concluded successfully, with the asset secured and the team intact. Upon debriefing, Captain Dawson's critique was pointed. Captain Ramirez, your deviation from the standard extraction protocol could have resulted in exposure and casualties. We cannot sanction such risks. Elena's response was unwavering. The alternative would have been predictable and vulnerable. Success requires anticipating the enemy, not just following preset paths. Her words resonated with some, while others remained skeptical. The division within the team was subtle but significant, underscoring the challenge of leading change amidst tradition. In quieter moments, Elena reflected on the sacrifices made to reach this point. Her unconventional methods were born not from defiance, but necessity. Lessons learned in covert missions where survival hinged on adaptability and quick thinking. She knew that earning the team's trust required patience and proof, not just words. One afternoon, as the sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the training field, Elena gathered her team for an impromptu session. Listen, she began, her voice steady. We're not just training for drills. We prepare for chaos, uncertainty, and the unknown. If we cling too tightly to rigid procedures, we become predictable. Our strength lies in our ability to adapt, to think 2 steps ahead. The operators exchanged glances, some nodding slowly, others withholding judgment. Lieutenant Harper approached, his tone less confrontational. Captain, I'm willing to learn from your approach. Perhaps there's a way to integrate flexibility without sacrificing discipline. Elena allowed herself a faint smile. That's all I ask. A willingness to evolve. As the training cycle continued, subtle shifts emerged. The team began incorporating Elena's adaptive tactics alongside established protocols, blending structure with innovation. The results were promising: improved mission completion times, enhanced situational awareness, and fewer operational errors. Yet, beneath the surface, resistance lingered. The undercurrents of skepticism and the occasional act of sabotage reminded Elena that earning respect within a rigid institution was a battlefield of its own. One evening, in the command center, Elena reviewed footage from the day's exercises. The images revealed her team executing complex maneuvers seamlessly, their coordination a testament to her leadership. Yet the camera caught moments of hesitation, operators pausing at unexpected commands, uncertain whether to follow or resist. She pressed a button, zooming in on her own expression during the missions, a blend of focus, calm, and resolve. The code name, Invisible Lynx, echoed silently in her mind, a symbol of stealth and precision, but also of isolation. A message blinked on her screen. Adaptation is strength. Trust will follow. No signature again, but the encouragement fortified her spirit. As night deepened aboard the USS Valor, the quiet hum of machinery underscored Elena's determination. The trials ahead would test more than tactics. They would challenge the very fabric of leadership, loyalty, and change. But Captain Elena Ramirez was prepared to meet that challenge head-on, proving that resilience and innovation were not just tactics, but the heart of true command. The early morning haze clung to the training compound as Captain Elena Ramirez prepared her team for the Joint Mission Simulation, a complex, high-stakes exercise designed to test interoperability between SEAL operators and Allied forces. The atmosphere was charged, a mix of anticipation and undercurrent rivalry from those still resistant to Elena's unconventional methods. Yet today, her focus was singular, to demonstrate that adaptability and precision could coexist with discipline and coordination. Lieutenant Harper approached, his expression unreadable but less guarded than before. "Captain, the simulation parameters are strict. We'll have limited communication windows and a rigid command structure. Deviations won't be tolerated." Elena met his gaze steadily. "Understood. But I'll be watching for opportunities where flexibility can turn the tide. Rigid doesn't always mean effective. Sometimes, it means predictable." The team assembled, their gear checked meticulously as the briefing officer outlined the scenario. An urban insurgency had taken hostages in a densely populated compound. The objective was to infiltrate, neutralize threats, and extract the hostages with minimal collateral damage. Time was critical, and the margin for error slim. As the simulation commenced, Elena's squad moved with coordinated precision, weaving through simulated streets and buildings, their movements fluid yet calculated. Her command style was a departure from the norm. She encouraged initiative within the framework, allowing subordinates to adapt tactics based on real-time assessments rather than waiting for explicit orders. In one critical moment, intelligence indicated an unexpected enemy patrol blocking the primary extraction route. While standard protocol dictated holding position and awaiting reinforcements, Elena assessed the risk and ordered an alternative path through a narrow service corridor. The team hesitated briefly. Some operators glanced toward the command center, unsure if this deviation was authorized, but ultimately followed her lead. The maneuver caught their simulated adversaries off guard, allowing the team to secure hostages faster than anticipated. The seamless execution of this unorthodox tactic drew attention among observers monitoring the exercise, their murmurs betraying surprise and intrigue. Lieutenant Marcus, observing from the rear, noted Elena's steady presence, her calm decisiveness guiding the squad through dynamic challenges. Her leadership style, once questioned, was proving effective in the fluid environment of urban warfare simulation. As the mission progressed, Elena's team encountered unexpected complications. Communication jammers disabled standard channels, and simulated civilian interference created chaos. Rather than retreating into rigid protocols, she empowered her squad to exploit visual signals and prearranged hand gestures, maintaining cohesion amidst the confusion. The operation culminated with the successful extraction of hostages and the simulated neutralization of threats. The debriefing room was thick with anticipation as commanders and observers reviewed the exercise footage. Captain Dawson, seated at the head of the table, maintained a reserved demeanor, yet his eyes betrayed a flicker of respect. "Captain Ramirez, your team's performance was notable, though your tactical deviations raise questions about adherence to established procedures." Elena responded with measured confidence. "Sir, the objective was achieved efficiently and with minimal simulated casualties. The situation demanded adaptive tactics, not strict adherence to protocols that didn't account for dynamic variables." Lieutenant Harper interjected, his tone less adversarial than before. "While I still harbor concerns about potential confusion in real combat, I acknowledge the effectiveness of Captain Ramirez's approach in this simulation." The room's atmosphere shifted subtly, a tentative opening for re-evaluation of Elena's methods. Amid the post-exercise discussions, whispers circulated about her past covert operations, missions shrouded in secrecy that few in the unit fully understood. The codename, Invisible Lynx, surfaced again, no longer just legend but a tangible symbol tied to her expertise in unconventional warfare. Lieutenant Kelwin, a junior officer known for his curiosity, approached Elena privately. "Captain, your tactics are unlike anything I've seen in standard training. Where did you learn to operate this way?" Elena regarded him thoughtfully. "In environments where protocol ends and survival begins. The Invisible Lynx isn't just a name. It's the embodiment of patience, observation, and decisive action when the moment calls for it. You learn to read the battlefield, not just the manual." Kelwin nodded slowly, the seed of understanding taking root. "I hope to learn more. There's more to leading than rules, isn't there?" Elena smiled faintly. "Much more." Later that day, as the team gathered for a tactical review, Elena observed a palpable shift among her peers. Questions were posed with genuine curiosity rather than skepticism. Suggestions emerged blending standard procedures with adaptive strategies. The walls of resistance, though not dismantled, were beginning to crack. Yet, beneath the surface, challenges remained. A report surfaced of altered training schedules and restricted access to certain facilities for Elena's team, subtle but deliberate attempts to isolate her influence. She sensed the undercurrents but refused to be deterred. In a quiet moment, Captain Dawson summoned Elena to his office. The room was austere, illuminated by the late afternoon sun filtering through blinds. "Ramirez," he began, "your results in the simulation are undeniable. But the question remains, can your approach be standardized across all units, or is it too tailored to your experience?" Elena met his gaze without hesitation. "Sir, no two missions are alike. Flexibility must be the standard, not the exception. The framework can evolve. Training can incorporate adaptive tactics without sacrificing discipline." Dawson considered her words, the weight of command evident in his expression. "We'll explore that. But be prepared. The path to change is often met with resistance." She nodded, accepting the challenge. "I'm ready." As twilight descended on the USS Valor, Elena stood on the deck, gazing at the stars emerging over the horizon. The journey ahead was uncertain, fraught with both opportunity and opposition. Yet the quiet strength within her, the legacy of the Invisible Lynx, burned brighter than ever. Her team's evolving respect and the subtle shifts within the command structure were signs that her vision was taking root. The fusion of discipline and adaptability was no longer just a concept, but a tangible force shaping the future of their operations. Elena's resolve was clear, to lead not just through orders, but through example, proving that true expertise lay in the ability to navigate both the known and the unpredictable with equal mastery. The conference room was stark, its walls lined with digital displays cycling through satellite imagery, mission logs, and operational timelines. Captain Elena Ramirez sat quietly as the senior officers gathered for the debrief of the latest joint operations simulation, the air thick with anticipation and cautious scrutiny. Despite the success of the exercise, the undercurrent of tension was palpable, her place on the team still shadowed by doubt and the lingering question of her true capabilities. Captain Dawson opened the session with measured formality. The exercise demonstrated operational strengths and weaknesses across all units. Captain Ramirez's team performed admirably, yet concerns persist regarding command decisions that deviated from established protocols. Elena remained composed, her eyes steady beneath the harsh fluorescent lights. When the floor was opened for comments, Lieutenant Harper spoke up, his tone conciliatory. While initial reservations stood, it's clear that Captain Ramirez's tactics contributed significantly to the mission's success. The room murmured in agreement, but the scrutiny did not abate. Then, as the debrief moved toward closure, an aide stepped forward, handing a sealed envelope to Captain Dawson. The room fell silent. Dawson broke the seal slowly, unfolding a classified report marked Top Secret. As his eyes scanned the pages, a transformation crossed his face, from skepticism to reluctant respect. He cleared his throat, addressing the assembly with a new gravity. "Ladies and gentlemen, it appears we have overlooked critical elements of Captain Ramirez's operational history. This report confirms her involvement in a covert mission that directly saved the lives of several team members during a high-risk extraction 5 years ago. The room shifted, tension giving way to astonishment. Elena's gaze remained calm, but resolute as Dawson continued. The mission was classified, details known to only a handful of command. Captain Ramirez operated under the code name Invisible Lynx, leading a surgical strike that neutralized a threat compromising our forces. Her actions prevented significant casualties, including those of key personnel and myself. A ripple of recognition spread through the officers. The code name that had once been whispered in doubt now reverberated with newfound respect. Lieutenant Kelwin, seated near the front, leaned forward, voice low but clear. Captain Ramirez, why were these details withheld? Why the silence on such a pivotal operation? Elena's response was measured. Operational security necessitated secrecy. The mission's success depended on discretion. My focus has always been on the present mission and the team before me, not personal accolades. Captain Dawson nodded, the weight of his earlier judgments evident. I acknowledge my prior doubts were misplaced. Captain Ramirez's leadership and strategic acumen are assets we cannot afford to overlook. As the room absorbed the revelation, Elena's team exchanged glances, pride mingled with vindication. The narrative that had shadowed her was rewritten in an instant. The Invisible Lynx's legacy no longer hidden, but celebrated. In the aftermath, the atmosphere shifted palpably. The barriers of skepticism began to erode as Elena's colleagues recognized the depth of her experience and the sacrifices behind her composed exterior. Later, in a private briefing, Dawson addressed Elena directly. Your reinstatement is not merely procedural. It's a reaffirmation of your value to this unit. The story of the Invisible Lynx will be integrated into our training modules to inspire future operators. Elena regarded him steadily. Thank you, sir. My goal has always been to lead by example and ensure the safety and success of our team. Outside the conference room, Lieutenant Marcus approached Elena, his expression a mix of relief and resolve. Captain, this changes everything. The team's trust will grow, and with it, our effectiveness. Elena nodded. It's a new chapter for all of us. The mission continues, and so must our commitment to evolve. As the day waned, Elena found a quiet moment on the ship's deck, the horizon painted in hues of fading light. The revelation had lifted a shadow, yet the weight of leadership remained. The legacy of the Invisible Lynx was no longer a secret burden, but a beacon guiding her forward. The path ahead was still fraught with challenges, but with truth unveiled and respect earned. Captain Elena Ramirez stood ready to lead her team into the uncertain battles that awaited. The Grand Hall of the Naval Special Warfare Center was filled with the murmur of anticipation, the air thick with a mixture of respect and lingering skepticism. Captain Elena Ramirez stood near the center of the room, her posture steady, the insignia of the Invisible Lynx subtly embroidered on her uniform, a symbol that had once been cloaked in secrecy but now glowed with hard-earned honor. Admiral Victor Hargrove stepped forward, his expression a complex blend of formality and reluctant acknowledgement. The room fell silent as he addressed the assembled operators, instructors, and dignitaries. Today, we recognize not only the exceptional service of Captain Ramirez, but also the perseverance she has shown in the face of doubt and adversity. Her leadership has redefined what it means to be a SEAL operator. A ripple of applause began, tentative at first, then swelling into a chorus of respect. Elena's team gathered around her, their faces alight with pride and solidarity. Lieutenant Marcus, standing at her side, whispered, "You've earned this, Captain. The legacy of the Invisible Lynx is no longer hidden." Elena nodded, her gaze sweeping over the crowd. Seasoned operators who had once questioned her methods, now standing in acknowledgement of her contributions. The years of patience, the battles fought both in the field and within the ranks, culminated in this moment of validation. As the ceremony progressed, Admiral Hargrove invited Elena to speak. She stepped forward, the weight of silence settling upon her, before her voice, calm, resolute, carried through the hall. This journey has not been mine alone. It is a testament to every operator who faces challenges unseen, who perseveres despite doubt, and who leads with conviction beyond expectation. The codename, Invisible Lynx, represents the unseen strength that guides us through uncertainty. I stand here today not just as a leader, but as a symbol of resilience and commitment. Her words resonated deeply, sparking a wave of affirmation that transcended rank and history. The widow spider pin she wore, a delicate emblem of survival and tenacity, caught the light, a tangible reminder of the sacrifices embedded in her path. In the days that followed, Elena transitioned from a contested figure to a respected instructor, her experience shaping the evolution of training programs. She fostered an environment where adaptability and discipline were not opposing forces, but complementary strengths. New recruits learned that leadership required more than adherence to protocol. It demanded courage, innovation, and unwavering dedication. Lieutenant Kelwin, now one of her closest protégés, observed during a training session. "Captain, your approach has changed how we think about missions. It's not just tactics, it's mindset." Elena smiled, imparting a lesson hard-won. Strength lies not in rigid rules, but in the willingness to face the unknown with resolve. That is the true legacy of the Invisible Lynx. As she guided the next generation of operators, Elena's story became a beacon, a narrative that celebrated hidden valor and the power of perseverance. The naval special warfare community embraced the ideals she embodied, recognizing that true excellence transcended tradition and expectation. On a quiet evening aboard the USS Valor, Elena stood once more on the deck, the cool breeze carrying the distant sounds of the sea. The widow spider pin, now a cherished symbol, rested against her heart. Her journey from doubt to distinction was complete, yet the mission continued, ever forward, ever vigilant. In that moment, Captain Elena Ramirez embodied the spirit of the Invisible Lynx, a testament to the enduring power of resilience, leadership, and the unyielding pursuit of excellence.